About 10 years ago, I was part of a conversation that became a kind of plan to create a Soto Zen denomination in North America. And like a lot of good things, it started with a few people sitting around a table eating lunch. And it grew and grew into meetings and committees. And uh, a couple years ago, it became a real thing. And the first step was that a board was formed. And out of that board, there was established what was called a denominational council that would hold religious leadership for the denomination. And the first task of the denominational council was to appoint what they call a guiding kyoshi, the person who would be the religious head of the organization and kind of hold the vision going forward. And so flash forwarding to 2025, about a month after we finished all of our big ceremonies here, I was in Japan, I was in Nagasaki, and I got an email saying that I had been appointed this guiding kyoshi. Um, and when you read the job description, it's a really big job description. It's a little overwhelming. But I did my best. And so for the first few months, I attended meetings as the guiding kyoshi and I wrote emails as guiding kyoshi. And by the way, I'm going to talk a lot about this denomination in the future, but not so much tonight. And I tried to show up in the role, even if I wasn't exactly sure what the role was or how to hold it. I did my best. Always wondering, am I sure what this really is? And then last week I was in Los Angeles for a conference, and part of that conference was a meeting of Soto Zen North America, which is this denomination. And on the first morning we had opening ceremonies, and prior to the opening ceremonies, that denominational council uh, presented me with a kotsu, this kotsu, carved out of a plum tree. And they handed it to me and they said, this is for the guiding kyoshi. It's not for you. It's for the guiding kyoshi. Which means that when your term is done in this role, you will hand it to the next one. And that person will hand it to the next one, and the next one, and the next one. And this will go on for generations. And as they described this, it got very heavy in my hand. But after I adjusted a little bit to the weight of it, I had a couple of aha moments. And the first one was, even though I've been trying to understand this role in my head, and to a degree, I have to understand this role in my head. When I was handed this object, this piece of wood, for the first time, I had an idea of what it was to hold the role in my body. And it was very different. And the second aha moment, which is related, was, oh, this is what we do all the time. This is what Zen people do. We receive things, and when we receive them, we accept a responsibility. And it plays out in so many ways. And so today I wanted to talk a little bit about that because I want us to notice it. I want us to start feeling in our bodies the things that we say yes to. There are lots of examples. There are so many examples. I thought I had to write some down. A lot of this, of course, plays out very formally in the world of priests. So that when you're ordained, you receive a robe and you receive bowls. And the understanding is that now that you've received this robe, and now that you've received these bowls, this is how you're going to live. You go to your teacher and your teacher hands them down to you and you receive them. And like almost everything we receive, you touch it to your head. And as you do, your life changes. You say, I will never put these down. I will now be someone who eats with these bowls. I will now be someone who wears these robes. And though I promise on that day, you don't know what that means, you also agree to figure out what it means. There's an object in your hands, but your body is just saying yes, usually to something that's too big to say out loud. I, of course, had another version of this in June. There was this robe that some of you sewed, many of you sewed. Pieces came from all around the world, and we put this together. And when I put it on, I understood in my body, oh, I'm saying yes to something. I'm saying yes to this role as abbot. Again, not because I know how to do it, not because I know what it means, but in spite of that. I've said yes to this, so I have to say yes to that. In those same ceremonies, we have this incredibly powerful moment, and it may or may not have seemed clear at the time. When our Shuso, Jike comes to me after bowing to everyone and receives the shippe. This is a short staff. And as I hand the shippe to the Shuso, I say, be careful. Because this shippe holds the power of life and death. And the Shuso says, okay. It's one of the teaching implements. It's one of the objects that denotes authority in the Dharma, authority to teach. The shippe, the shakujo, which is the staff, the kotsu, the hosu, which is the whisk, another thing called a nyoi. That to pick this up, to hold it in your hands, is to be the person who is supposed to hold it. So in that ceremony, in the Dharma combat ceremony, the Shuso, who is not yet a fully ordained priest, comes and receives this object with a warning, right? So you may not know how to hold this yet, but we'll let you try. And then the Shuso goes and takes the teaching seat, assumes all the authority and all the power that the shippe represents. And after it's all done, and they have no voice left, and they're drenched in sweat from teaching in this very dramatic way, they stand up and they come back and they hand it back. And if the system is working, it isn't just that in that moment everyone is recognizing this person as having gone through another level of ordination. It's also that this becomes part of that priest's discernment. Because now they know something. They know what it feels like to hold that, and they have to decide, do I want to move forward in this? to a place where someone hands it to me and I can't hand it back. In those same ceremonies, of course, we received so much. And people came from all over the world. They flew from Japan, they flew from California, they flew from Oregon, they flew from New York. They brought donations, they brought objects. All of these things. And every time we said yes to those things, we agreed to something. That we will be the kind of community that can hold this. On a personal level, if you have received the precepts and if you wear a rakusu, you understand something. You understand that the rakusu, this piece of cloth, weighs more than it weighs on a scale. You feel it around your neck. We understand when we receive the precepts, whether we receive it in this material form or whether we just put our hands together and say yes. That in saying yes, we're not just saying yes in the moment. We're saying, yes, I accept this responsibility. We don't know what that is. I do want in this community for us to spend some time specifically on what that responsibility might be, what it might mean to receive that here within Thousand Harbours, what it might mean that you're holding. Because of course people look to you, they see it. And so whether you want a responsibility or not, there's one that's kind of conferred upon you through expectation and through question and through hope. How do we meet that? We don't know, but we don't have the option not to. We receive teachings. Every time I have heard a Dharma talk from one of my teachers, I have been handed something that now I can't put down. It sticks to me. If I heard it, if I understood even one word of it, then there's something I must do with that in my life. I don't really have a choice. We receive this practice. We receive this posture. We hold all of these things in our bodies. And if we pay attention, we understand that they are not just for us. They're a job. They're a task. They're a duty. In the verse we say at the beginning of talks, we say the unsurpassed, profound, and wondrous Dharma is rarely met with, even in 100,000 million kalpas. Now we can see and hear it, accept and maintain it. May we unfold the meaning of the Tathagata's truth. We're agreeing, even before the person in the teaching seat says one word, we're agreeing to hold whatever this thing is that is coming our way and to uphold it, to maintain it. It's not just a show. It's not a podcast, even if it's a podcast. We do this with the meal verse. We reflect on the effort that brought us this food and consider how it comes to us. We reflect on our virtue and practice and whether we are worthy of this offering. We regard greed as the obstacle to freedom of mind. We regard this meal as medicine to sustain our life. For the sake of realization, we now receive this food. We receive this food not for us, but so that we can enact something in the world. We literally hold it and then take it into our body. It's medicine, but it's more than medicine. It's medicine that fuels us in some kind of work. We have to decide in advance if we're worthy of it. And if we're not sure, then after we eat it, we have to decide that we will be worthy of it. We have to put it to use. It's not casual. It's not a snack. In keeping us alive, it keeps the Dharma alive. My son is 16 and he has a learner's permit. And something I really enjoy watching is how when I hand him the keys, I see how heavy they are. It's a big deal. It's a big deal to be the person who drives the car. The first time you pull out onto the road, it's a little different when, we spent a couple days in parking lots, right? We went in circles, we practiced parking going forward and then parking going back, and we kind of imagined maybe this is a street light, so this is how you would signal. It was fun. It was like a video game. But the first time that you pull out onto a real road and there are cars coming, or a car might be coming, you understand that by receiving the keys, you agreed to hold the world in your hands. You agreed, in the same way that the Shuso takes the Shippe, to wield the power of life and death. And if you drive every day for decades, you might just grab the keys out of a bowl and get in the car and you don't think about it so much. Which is why it's why we need new people. Because seeing someone pick them up for the first time is a reminder of what it means for us to pick it up every time. We're not just going to the store. We can take this practice in with everything that we touch. Picking up a fork is a step toward picking up the food, which is a step toward feeding the world. Feeding this practice, feeding these truths. When we pick up a book, when we put on our clothes and we dress for the world, we say yes to something. The extent to which we take up an object like that and we don't say yes is the extent to which we are asleep, moment to moment. I'll say just one more thing about this because I think it's related and it helps me, which is to think a little bit about how offering works. In what I'm describing, we receive something We accept a responsibility in that, and then there's something that we offer. And what I notice is that the line of offering, it goes one way. So things flow through me to the next person, and to the next person, and to the next person. And the reason I point that out is because it's not a loop. When I was a monk, we would do alms rounds. We'd go around with our bowl from shop to shop and home to home. And we'd chant, and people would come and they would put in, $1 in the bowl or some rice. And when we finished, we would say, Zaiho nisei kudoku muryo dan paramitsu gusoku enman naishi hokkai byodo ryaku. And the way that this was first explained to me was that you're kind of saying, now we're square. This is a cosmically fair deal. I offered you something, you offered me something, we're good. It always seemed like such a funny thing to say, and it's shouted, right? Like the worst store in the world. But I've come to understand it differently. Kusoku Muryo means infinite benefit, infinite merit. You can't have infinite benefit in a closed loop. You can only have a transaction. So what we're really saying is, we're meeting in this place. Offering is coming through me, and it's going to you. And as we're standing here, offering is coming through you to me. Not because we're doing this, we're doing this. So nothing that we offer is intended to bring something back. None of these responsibilities comes with a reward. If I give this much, I don't get that much in return. I just give that much. And then I pick something else up, and I accept the responsibility of that, and then I give that much. That's all. I feel so powerfully the weight of the things I have received. I hope this community can also feel that weight in what we have received, whether it is from guests who have come from afar or from each other. We're constantly being fed. We're constantly being supported. We're constantly being offered something new that we can pick up. We just have to understand that once we pick it up, we can't put it down. And that's where I'll stop.